The hum of ancient machinery filled the vast chamber as stasis pods began to open one by one. Captain Aria Novak's eyes fluttered open, adjusting to the dim blue light. Her mind raced to process the flood of information from the ship's AA. "Status report," she croaked, her voice hoarse from millennia of disuse. "Welcome back, Captain," the AA's soothing voice responded. "The Ark ship Prometheus has successfully reached its destination. All systems are functioning within acceptable parameters. It has been 3,027 years since departure from Earth." Aria's heart raced as the full weight of their journey hit her. They had done it. Humanity had cheated extinction and traveled to a new home among the stars. As she stepped out of her pod on shaky legs, she saw her fellow crew members emerging from their own capsules. Dr. Elias Reeves, the ship's chief scientist, stumbled over to her. "Did we make it?" he asked, his eyes wide with a mixture of hope and disbelief. Aria nodded, a small smile forming on her lips. "We did, old friend. Now the real work begins." Over the next few hours, the crew of the Prometheus regained their bearings and began the process of assessing their new home. The planet they had arrived at, dubbed Nova Terra, showed promising signs of habitability. Lush forests covered much of its surface, and initial scans detected no signs of intelligent life. As Aria stood on the observation deck, gazing down at the blue and green orb below, her second-in-command, Commander Zain Malik, joined her. "It's beautiful," he said softly. "Hard to believe we're the first humans to see this world with our own eyes." Aria nodded, her expression thoughtful. "And hopefully not the last. We carry the hopes and dreams of our entire species, Zain. We can't let them down." The next few days were a whirlwind of activity as the crew prepared for their first landing on Nova Terra. Survey teams were assembled, equipment was checked and rechecked, and the ship's complement of drones was deployed to gather more detailed data on the planet's atmosphere and potential landing sites. Dr. Reeves burst into the command center, his eyes shining with excitement. "Captain, you need to see this." He pulled up a holographic display showing a series of strange energy readings from the planet's surface. Aria frowned, studying the data. "What am I looking at, Elias?" "These energy signatures," Reeves explained, pointing to several bright spots on the map. "They're artificial in origin, and they're old, very old." A hush fell over the command center as the implications sank in. They weren't alone after all. "Could it be remnants of an ancient civilization?" Zain asked, voicing the question on everyone's mind. Reeves shook his head. "I don't think so. These readings are active, not residual. Whatever's down there, it's still functioning after who knows how long." Aria's mind raced with possibilities and potential dangers. Their mission had just become far more complex. "All right, people," she announced, her voice cutting through the murmurs of speculation. "Let's not jump to conclusions. We stick to the plan, but with extra precautions. I want our first landing party ready in 2 hours. We'll investigate these energy signatures personally." As the crew scrambled to prepare for their historic landing, Aria retreated to her quarters for a moment of quiet reflection. She picked up an old, worn photograph, the last image taken of Earth before the Prometheus departed. So much had been lost, so many sacrifices made to reach this point. "We made it," she whispered to the fading image of her home world. "And whatever's waiting for us down there, we'll face it together." With a deep breath, Aria set the photo down and straightened her uniform. It was time to lead humanity into a new chapter of its history. As she walked back to the command center, her steps were filled with determination. They had crossed the vastness of space and slept for 3 millennia to reach this moment. Whatever challenges lay ahead, Aria knew that the indomitable spirit of humanity would see them through. The landing shuttle hummed to life, carrying Aria, Zain, Dr. Reeves, and a small team of security and scientific personnel. As they descended through Nova Terra's atmosphere, the true beauty of their new home became apparent. Towering mountains gave way to sweeping plains, and great rivers snaked their way through pristine forests. But it was the structure that appeared on the horizon that took their breath away. A massive spire of gleaming metal and pulsing energy rose from the heart of a verdant valley, its architecture unlike anything they had ever seen. "My God," Zane whispered, his eyes wide with awe. Arya gripped the arms of her seat, her heart pounding with a mixture of excitement and apprehension. "Take us in closer," she ordered the pilot. "But be ready for anything." As they approached the alien structure, none of them could have imagined the incredible journey that lay ahead, one that would challenge everything they thought they knew about their place in the universe and ultimately showcase the very best of what humanity had to offer. As the landing shuttle touched down in a clearing near the alien spire, Captain Arya Novak felt the weight of history on her shoulders. She led her team out onto the surface of Nova Terra, their boots leaving the first human footprints on this alien world. Dr. Elias Rees immediately began scanning the area with his equipment, his face a mask of concentration. "The energy readings are off the charts," he muttered. "This technology, it's beyond anything we've ever encountered." Commander Zayn Malik kept his hand near his weapon, eyes scanning their surroundings. "Captain, I don't like this. It's too quiet. Where are the builders of this structure?" Before Arya could respond, a low hum filled the air. The ground beneath their feet vibrated, and a beam of light shot out from the spire, enveloping the human team. Panic threatened to set in, but Arya's voice cut through the chaos. "Stay calm. Nobody move," she ordered, fighting her own instinct to flee. The light pulsed once, twice, and then vanished. In its place stood a holographic figure, tall, ethereal, with features that seemed to shift and change as they watched. When it spoke, the words echoed in their minds rather than their ears. "Welcome, children of Earth," the being said. "We have waited a long time for your arrival." Arya stepped forward, her heart racing but her voice steady. "I am Captain Arya Novak of the Ark ship Prometheus. We come in peace, seeking a new home. Who are you?" The being's form shimmered. "We are the Guardians, caretakers of the Galactic Empire. We have watched over countless civilizations as they've risen and fallen. Your journey here was not by chance, Arya Novak. You were guided." A murmur ran through the human team. Zane's grip tightened on his weapon, while Elias looked like he might faint from excitement. "Guided?" Arya asked, her mind reeling. "By you? Why?" The Guardian's form expanded, showing glimpses of star systems and alien worlds. "Your species has great potential. We have observed your resilience, your creativity, your determination. The Galactic Empire is in need of new perspectives, new ideas. You may be the catalyst we have long awaited." Dr. Rees couldn't contain himself any longer. "You're saying there's a whole empire out there, with multiple alien species? This is incredible." The Guardian nodded, its form solidifying slightly. "Indeed, the Galactic Empire spans millions of worlds, home to thousands of sentient species, but it has grown, stagnant, set in its ways. That is why we guided your ancestors to send out Ark ships like the Prometheus. Humanity may be the key to revitalizing the Empire." Arya's mind raced with the implications. They had expected to find a new home, to rebuild human civilization from scratch. Instead, they were being offered a place in a vast interstellar community. But something didn't add up. "If you're so advanced," she asked, "why didn't you just come to Earth and make contact directly? Why make us sleep for 3,000 years?" The Guardian's form flickered, a hint of sadness in its voice. "The journey was necessary. Your species needed time to mature, to prove its worth through perseverance. And there are factions within the Empire who would have seen your potential as a threat, seeking to destroy you before you could leave your world." Zane stepped forward, his posture tense. "So we're walking into a political minefield. Captain, this could be dangerous." Arya held up a hand, silencing her second-in-command. "What exactly do you want from us?" she asked the Guardian. "To take your place among the stars," the being replied. "To bring your unique perspectives and innovations to the Empire. But be warned, not all will welcome you. You must prove yourselves worthy. With that, the Guardian's form began to fade. The choice is yours, children of Earth. Remain here on this world we prepared for you, or step into a larger universe. We will await your decision. As the hologram disappeared, the human team erupted into excited and nervous chatter. Aria raised her voice to be heard over the din. All right, everyone, back to the shuttle. We need to report this to the rest of the crew. As they made their way back to the Prometheus, Aria's mind whirled with possibilities and potential dangers. They had crossed the gulf of space, seeking a new beginning, but none of them had imagined anything like this. Back on the ship, the news of the Guardian's offer spread like wildfire. The crew was divided, some eager to explore this new frontier, others wary of the unknown dangers that might await them. In the ship's main conference room, Aria faced her senior staff and the representatives of the colonists who had made the journey with them. I know this is overwhelming, she began, her voice calm despite the turmoil in her mind. We came here expecting to build a new human civilization from the ground up. Instead, we're being offered a place in a galactic community beyond our wildest dreams. Dr. Rees couldn't contain his enthusiasm. The scientific opportunities alone are staggering. Think of what we could learn, how we could advance. Or how we could be exploited, Zane countered. We'd be newcomers, potentially seen as primitive by these advanced civilizations. How do we know we can trust this Guardian? The debate raged on, with valid points raised on both sides. As Aria listened, she realized that this decision would shape the future of humanity for generations to come. Finally, she held up her hand for silence. I understand all of your concerns, but the fact is, we left Earth to ensure the survival of our species, to give humanity a future among the stars. Can we really turn our backs on this opportunity? She took a deep breath, knowing her next words would set them on an irrevocable path. We'll accept the Guardian's offer, but we'll do so cautiously, with our eyes wide open. Humanity has faced challenges before, and we've always risen to meet them. This will be no different. As the meeting adjourned, Aria gazed out at the alien world below them. Soon, they would be venturing out into a galaxy filled with wonders and dangers beyond imagination. But whatever awaited them, she knew that the indomitable spirit of humanity would see them through. Little did they know, their arrival was about to send shockwaves through the Galactic Empire, challenging millennia of tradition and setting the stage for a new era of innovation and conflict. The Prometheus glided through the star-studded expanse, escorted by sleek ships of the Galactic Empire. Captain Aria Novak stood on the bridge, her crew a mix of excitement and apprehension as they approached the Empire's capital world, Celestia Prime. As they entered the planet's orbit, the true scale of the galactic civilization became apparent. Massive space stations and shipyards dotted the sky, while the planet's surface glittered with sprawling cities that defied imagination. It's beautiful, Zane murmured, standing beside Aria. And terrifying. Aria nodded, her expression determined. Remember, we're not just visitors. We're here to carve out a place for humanity. Their ship docked at a colossal space station, and soon Aria found herself leading a delegation through gleaming corridors filled with aliens of all shapes and sizes. At last, they were ushered into a vast chamber where representatives from across the Empire had gathered. At the center stood the Imperial Arbiter, a being of swirling energy contained within an ornate exosuit. Its voice reverberated through the chamber as it addressed the assembled delegates. Esteemed members of the Galactic Empire, we gather to welcome the newest addition to our cosmic family, humanity. A murmur ran through the crowd, not all of it welcoming. Aria straightened her back, acutely aware of the countless eyes upon her. The Arbiter continued, the Guardians have deemed them worthy of joining our ranks. However, as is our custom, they must prove their value to the Empire. A tall, avian being stepped forward, its feathers shimmering with iridescent colors. Arbiter, I am Zixtal of the Etherian Conclave. We cannot simply allow these primitives to join us without question. Their technology is centuries behind our own. What could they possibly offer? Arya felt her blood boil at the dismissive tone, but she kept her composure. This was the moment to show what humanity was made of. "If I may speak," she said, her voice carrying across the chamber. The Arbiter nodded, and Arya continued, "It's true that our technology may not match yours, yet. But humanity's greatest strength has always been our ability to innovate, to think outside the box." She gestured to Dr. Reeves, who activated a holographic display. "We've studied the schematics of your ships that you so graciously shared with us. While impressive, we've already identified several areas where efficiency could be improved." The hologram showed a standard Imperial cruiser, then shifted to display a modified version with sleeker lines and reconfigured systems. By redesigning the power distribution network and optimizing the hull geometry, Reeves explained, his eyes shining with enthusiasm, "We can increase overall efficiency by 23% without sacrificing structural integrity." The chamber erupted in a mixture of scoffs and intrigued murmurs. Zixtal's feathers ruffled in agitation. "Preposterous. Our designs have been refined over millennia. You expect us to believe that you've improved upon them in a matter of days." Another delegate, a squat, crystalline being, chimed in. "The Aetherian has a point. These are merely theoretical improvements. How do we know they would work in practice?" The Arbiter raised a hand for silence. "A fair question. Captain Novak, are you willing to put your designs to the test?" Arya's heart raced, but she didn't hesitate. "Absolutely. Give us the resources to build a prototype, and we'll prove the value of human ingenuity." The Arbiter's energy form pulsed with what might have been amusement. "Very well. You shall have one standard galactic month to construct your vessel. It will then be pit against our finest ships in a series of trials. Should you succeed, humanity will be granted full membership in the Empire, with all the rights and responsibilities that entails." Zixtal's eyes narrowed. "And should they fail?" Then, the Arbiter replied, "They will be relegated to a protectorate status under the direct supervision of the Aetherian conclave." Arya felt a chill run down her spine. The stakes couldn't be higher. "We accept your challenge," she said, her voice unwavering. As the human delegation left the chamber, Zane pulled Arya aside. "Captain, are you sure about this? We're betting everything on our ability to out-engineer species that have been spacefaring for millennia." Arya met his gaze, her eyes blazing with determination. "It's a risk, yes, but this is our chance to show the galaxy what humanity is truly capable of. We didn't cross the void between stars just to play it safe." Over the next few weeks, the Prometheus became a hive of activity. The Empire provided them with a construction dock and raw materials, but the design and building process was left entirely to the humans. Dr. Reeves led a team of engineers working around the clock, refining their designs and pushing the boundaries of what they thought possible. They incorporated principles of biomimicry, quantum computing, and even looked to Earth's ancient naval history for inspiration. Arya split her time between overseeing the project and navigating the complex political landscape of the Empire. She forged alliances with more open-minded factions, while Zane kept a wary eye on the Aetherians and other groups that seemed threatened by humanity's potential. As the deadline approached, tensions ran high. The human prototype, christened the HS Nova, began to take shape. Its sleek lines and unconventional design drew curious onlookers from across the Empire. On the eve of the trials, Arya stood in the observation deck, gazing at their creation. The Nova gleamed in the starlight, a testament to human perseverance and creativity. Dr. Reeves joined her, dark circles under his eyes but a smile on his face. "She's ready, Captain. Win or lose, we've already accomplished something incredible." Arya nodded, placing a hand on the viewport. "Tomorrow, we show the galaxy what humanity is made of. Win or lose, we'll face it together." As she looked out at the stars, Arya knew that whatever the outcome, this was just the beginning of humanity's grand adventure in the cosmos. The day of the trials arrived, and the space around Celestia Prime buzzed with activity. Spectators from across the Empire gathered to witness the human ship's debut. The HSS Nova hung in space, its hull gleaming with an iridescent sheen that seemed to shift colors as it moved. Captain Aria Novak sat in the command chair, her crew at their stations. The Nova's bridge was a marvel of ergonomic design, holographic displays providing a 360-degree view of their surroundings. "All systems check out, Captain," Zane reported from the tactical station. "Our new quantum-entangled communications are online, giving us near-instantaneous response times." Dr. Ree's voice came over the comms from engineering. "Adaptive shielding is at full capacity. The biomimetic hull is responding beautifully to simulated stresses." Aria took a deep breath, centering herself. "All right, team. This is what we've been working towards. Let's show them what humanity can do." The first trial was a test of maneuverability. The Nova would race against the Empire's fastest scout ships through an asteroid field. As the starting signal flashed across space, Aria gave the order. "Helm, execute Sparrow sequence." The Nova shot forward, its unconventional propulsion system kicking in. Instead of traditional thrusters, the ship used a combination of gravitational manipulation and quantum field generators. It wove through the asteroids with breathtaking agility, more like a living creature than a machine. In the observation deck, alien spectators watched in awe as the Nova outpaced and outmaneuvered the Empire's best. Zixtal's feathers bristled with a mixture of anger and disbelief. "Impossible," he hissed. "They must be cheating somehow." The next trial tested the ship's defensive capabilities. The Nova faced off against a barrage of weapons fire from multiple Imperial warships. As energy beams and projectiles hurtled towards them, the ship's adaptive shielding sprang to life. The biomimetic hull flexed and shifted, channeling the energy of the attacks and dispersing it harmlessly. In some cases, the Nova even seemed to absorb the energy, using it to bolster its own systems. "Shields holding at 92%, Zane reported, a note of triumph in his voice. "We've barely been scratched." The final trial was perhaps the most daunting, a simulation of a search and rescue mission in a hazardous nebula. The Nova had to navigate through volatile gas pockets, locate a distress beacon, and extract a disabled ship, all while under fire from simulated enemy forces. As they entered the nebula, visibility dropped to near zero. But the Nova's sensors, inspired by deep-sea creatures from Earth's oceans, cut through the interference like a knife. "Contact," called out the sensor officer. "Distress beacon located, bearing 047 Mark 183. Aria leaned forward in her chair. "Take us in, nice and easy. Zane, be ready with the tractor beam." The Nova glided through the nebula, its hull adapting to the corrosive gases. As they approached the disabled ship, enemy fire began to rain down on them. But the Nova's point defense system, a network of microdrones inspired by Earth's insect swarms, sprang into action, intercepting incoming projectiles with pinpoint accuracy. With a precision that left the Imperial observers stunned, the Nova locked onto the disabled ship with its tractor beam and began the extraction. The enemies pressed their attack, but the human ship's unconventional design allowed it to shield its rescue target while returning fire. As they cleared the nebula, towing the rescued ship to safety, a cheer erupted from the human crew. They had done it, passed every trial with flying colors. Back at the space station, the mood was electric. Delegates from across the Empire clamored to speak with the human team, eager to learn more about their innovations. Even some of the previously skeptical factions were now looking at humanity with newfound respect. The Arbiter's voice boomed across the chamber. "The trials have been completed, and the results are clear. Humanity has not only met our challenge, but exceeded all expectations. By the power vested in me by the Galactic Council, I hereby grant humanity full membership in the Galactic Empire." Applause and cheers filled the air, But Arya noticed Zixtal and his allies huddled in a corner, their expressions dark. She knew that while they had won a great victory today, they had also made some powerful enemies. As the celebration continued, Dr. Reeves approached Arya, his eyes shining with excitement. "Captain, this is just the beginning. The innovations we've developed for the Nova, they could revolutionize technology across the Empire. We're standing on the brink of a new era of exploration and discovery." Arya nodded, a smile playing on her lips. "You're right, Elias. But we need to be careful. Not everyone will welcome such rapid change." She gazed out at the stars, her mind already racing with the possibilities and challenges that lay ahead. Humanity had proven its worth, but their greatest adventures and greatest trials were yet to come. In the months following the Nova's triumphant debut, humanity's influence spread rapidly throughout the Galactic Empire. The innovations showcased in the ship's designs sparked a technological renaissance, with beings from countless worlds eager to collaborate with human engineers and scientists. Captain Arya Novak found herself at the center of a whirlwind of diplomatic meetings, technological exchanges, and strategy sessions. The Prometheus had been converted into a mobile embassy of sorts, traveling from system to system as humanity established its presence in the galactic community. On the forest world of Verdana, Arya stood with Zayn and Dr. Reeves, watching as a team of human and alien engineers worked together to adapt the Nova's biomimetic hull technology for atmospheric cleansing. The sight filled her with pride, but also a sense of unease. "It's amazing how quickly we've been accepted," Zayn mused, his eyes scanning the diverse group of beings working in harmony. Dr. Reeves nodded enthusiastically. "The cross-pollination of ideas is astounding. We're making advances that would have taken centuries back on Earth." Arya's expression remained guarded. "Yes, but not everyone is thrilled with the pace of change. The conservative factions are growing more vocal in their opposition." As if on cue, her communication device chimed. A holographic image of Councillor Lyra, their strongest ally in the Galactic Council, appeared before them. "Captain Novak, we have a situation." Lyra's crystalline form flickered with concern. "The Etherian Conclave has called for an emergency session of the Council. They're demanding restrictions on the spread of human technology." Arya's jaw tightened. On what grounds? They claim that the rapid adoption of human innovations is destabilizing traditional power structures and economies across the Empire, Lyra explained. "There's talk of imposing strict regulations on human-inspired tech." "That's ridiculous," Dr. Reeves sputtered. "Our advancements are benefiting everyone." Arya held up a hand to calm him. "Not everyone sees it that way, Elias. Change can be frightening, especially to those who have held power for millennia." She turned back to Lyra's image. "We'll return to Celestia Prime immediately. Thank you for the warning, Counselor." As they prepared to depart Verdana, reports began flooding in from across human-controlled space. Protests had broken out on several worlds, with conservative factions rallying against the human disruption of their way of life. More alarmingly, there were incidents of sabotage against facilities using human-inspired technology. Aboard the Prometheus, Arya convened an emergency meeting with her senior staff and key human representatives from across the Empire. "The situation is escalating faster than we anticipated," she began, her voice grave. "We need to find a way to address these concerns without compromising our principles or the advancements we've made." Zayn leaned forward, his expression troubled. "We could slow down the rollout of new technologies, give the more traditional societies time to adapt." Dr. Reeves shook his head vehemently. "That would be a mistake. Our innovations are solving real problems across the Empire. Planets are being cleaned, resources are being used more efficiently, lives are being saved. We can't back down now." The debate raged on, with valid points raised on both sides. As Arya listened, she couldn't help but feel a sense of déjà vu. It reminded her of the discussions they'd had when deciding whether to join the Empire in the first place. Finally, she stood, silencing the room. We didn't come this far to play it safe, she declared, echoing her words from months ago. Yes, we need to be mindful of the impact we're having, but we also have a responsibility to use our knowledge and skills to improve life for everyone in the Empire, not just those who are comfortable with the status quo. She turned to her communications officer. Prepare a statement for broadcast across the Empire. We'll address these concerns head-on and invite open dialogue with those who oppose us. It's time to remind everyone why the Guardians brought us here in the first place. As the meeting adjourned, Arya found herself alone with Dr. Reeves. The scientist's usual enthusiasm was tempered by concern. "Do you think it will be enough?" he asked. "Words won't change the minds of those who see us as a threat." Arya's expression was resolute. "Words are just the beginning, Elias. We need to show them that human innovation isn't about disruption for its own sake. It's about solving problems and creating a better future for all." An idea began to form in her mind. "In fact, I think it's time we took on our biggest challenge yet, something so grand, so universally beneficial, that even our staunchest opponents will have to acknowledge its value." Dr. Reeves raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "What did you have in mind, Captain?" Arya's eyes gleamed with determination. "We're going to solve the Empire's energy crisis, not with incremental improvements, but with a revolutionary new approach that will ensure clean, abundant power for every world in the galaxy." As they began to discuss the possibilities, alarms blared throughout the ship. Zane's voice came over the intercom, urgent and tense. "Captain, to the bridge immediately. We're picking up multiple hostile signatures on an intercept course. It looks like they're Empire ships, but they're not responding to hails." Arya and Reeves exchanged a grim look before racing to the bridge. As they arrived, the view screen showed a formation of warships bearing down on them, their weapons charged. "It's a faction of the Aetherian fleet," Zane reported, his hands flying over the tactical console. "They're demanding we surrender and submit to quarantine to prevent further spread of human influence." Arya's mind raced, weighing their options. They couldn't fire on Imperial ships without becoming the aggressors, but neither could they allow themselves to be captured or silenced. "Helm, plot a course out of the system," she ordered. "We'll use the Nova's maneuverability to avoid their fire. Zane, get me a channel to Counselor Lyra. The Empire needs to know what's happening here." As the Prometheus prepared to engage in a deadly game of cat and mouse, Arya knew that the next few hours would determine not just their fate, but the future of human-alien relations in the Galactic Empire. The true test of humanity's place among the stars had begun. The Prometheus danced through space, its enhanced engines and maneuvering systems pushed to their limits as it evaded the pursuing Aetherian ships. Captain Arya Novak stood at the helm, her voice steady as she called out orders to her crew. "Zane, status on that communication to Counselor Lyra." "Still trying to get through, Captain," Zane replied, frustration evident in his voice. "They're jamming our long-range transmissions." Dr. Reeves spoke up from his station. "Captain, I have an idea. Remember the quantum entanglement communication system we developed for the Nova? We could adapt it to send a brief encrypted message. They won't be able to jam it." Arya nodded sharply. "Do it. We need to let the Council know what's happening here." As Reeves and his team worked feverishly to modify their communication systems, the ship rocked from a near miss. The Aetherians were growing more aggressive in their pursuit. "Shields at 60%, reported the tactical officer. "We can't keep this up forever, Captain." Arya's mind raced, considering their options. They couldn't run forever, but neither could they surrender. Suddenly, an alert flashed on the main view screen. They were approaching a dense nebula, notorious for its unpredictable energy discharges. A plan formed in Arya's mind. It was risky, but it might be their only chance. "Helm, take us into the nebula. Full speed." "Captain," Zane questioned, his eyes wide. "That nebula is incredibly dangerous. Our shields might not hold." "Neither will theirs," Arya replied grimly. "And we have one advantage they don't, our biomimetic hull. Doctor, can you reconfigure it to absorb and channel the nebulous energy discharges? Reeves' fingers flew over his console. Theoretically, yes, but it's never been tested in these conditions. We'd be flying blind. Sometimes you have to take a leap of faith, Arya said, her voice filled with determination. Do it. As the Prometheus plunged into the swirling gases of the nebula, the pursuing ships hesitated, but their commander, driven by fear and hatred of the human threat, ordered them to follow. Inside the nebula, chaos reigned. Energy discharges lit up the viewscreen like a cosmic lightning storm. The Prometheus shuddered and groaned, but its adaptive hull began to glow, absorbing and redistributing the energy. It's working, Reeves shouted over the din. We're not just surviving, we're getting stronger. Arya allowed herself a small smile. All right, time to turn the tables. Tactical, prepare to emerge from the nebula on my mark. We're going to show them what this ship can really do. As they burst from the nebula, the Prometheus was transformed. Its hull crackled with absorbed energy, and its weapons systems were supercharged. The pursuing Etherian ships, their shields weakened by the nebula, were caught off guard. Target their engines and weapon systems, Arya ordered. Disable, don't destroy. In a dazzling display of precision and power, the Prometheus systematically neutralized a threat, leaving the Etherian ships dead in space without causing a single casualty. As the last enemy ship went dark, a new alert sounded. Captain, Zane called out, relief evident in his voice, with picking up multiple signatures. It's the Galactic Council fleet. The view screen filled with the image of Councillor Lyra, flanked by representatives from various Empire factions. Captain Novak, Lyra said, her crystalline form shimmering with what might have been admiration, your message got through. We've seen everything. The Etherian faction acted without authorization, and they will be held accountable. Arya straightened, addressing the council with quiet dignity. Councillors, what you've witnessed here today is not just a demonstration of human technology. It's a testament to the power of innovation, adaptation, and the refusal to submit to fear or hatred. She gestured to her diverse crew. Humans didn't achieve this alone. Every advancement we've made has been built on the foundation of knowledge shared by the Empire. Our strength lies not in domination, but in collaboration. The councillors murmured among themselves, many nodding in agreement. Even some of the more conservative members seemed swayed by the display they had just witnessed. Lyra spoke again, her voice carrying the weight of authority. Captain Novak, the council has come to a decision. The attempts to restrict human innovation are hereby overturned. Moreover, we would like to establish a new division within the Empire, the Galactic Innovation Corps, with you as its first director. Arya's eyes widened in surprise. Councillor, I'm honored, but this new course, Lyra continued, will be tasked with identifying challenges facing the Empire and developing innovative solutions, drawing on the strengths of all our member species. We believe that the human approach to problem-solving, combined with the vast knowledge and resources of the Empire, can usher in a new golden age. As the implications of this decision sank in, cheers erupted across the Prometheus. Arya felt a swell of pride and hope for the future. In the days that followed, the Galactic Innovation Corps took shape. The Prometheus was recommissioned as a mobile research and diplomatic vessel, traveling the Empire to tackle its greatest challenges. Dr. Reeves led teams of mixed-species scientists, pushing the boundaries of what was thought possible. Zane, promoted to captain, took command of a new generation of ships inspired by the Nova, tasked with exploration and peacekeeping. The Etherian conclave, chastened by the actions of their rogue faction, began to cautiously embrace change. As for Arya, she found herself at the forefront of a new era of galactic cooperation. Standing on the observation deck of the Prometheus, watching alien and human crews working side by side, she reflected on the long journey that had brought them to this point. They had left Earth seeking a new home among the stars. Instead, They had found a galaxy in need of the very qualities that had defined humanity throughout its history: resilience, creativity, and the unwavering desire to reach for the impossible. As the Prometheus prepared to embark on its next mission, Area smiled. The adventure was far from over. In fact, it was just beginning. Humanity had found its place in the cosmos, not as conquerors or subjects, but as innovators and bridge builders. The stars, once distant and unreachable, now beckoned with endless possibilities. And Area knew, with unshakable certainty, that whatever challenges lay ahead, humanity would face them as they always had, together, with ingenuity, courage, and hope.